Final hour OverDrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Brian Hayes, Frankie Corrado, Leafs Ottawa tonight, Battle of Ontario. Then the Leafs are in Washington tomorrow, taking on the Capitals. Caps, like Minnesota, certainly like Winnipeg to an extent. Now, Winnipeg winning 14 of 15 is a stunning story and a surprising story. Anybody winning like that. If Florida was 14-1, you'd be shocked. But Winnipeg's a very good team that was expected to be a playoff team anyway. So them being competitive is not surprising. But I think Washington off to the start they're off to. Minnesota off to the start they're off to.
Yeah. Especially Minnesota, they still have the Suter and Parise money on the books.
And it's big.
It's like $15 million.
Yeah.
They have. Like they're going to have, next year, they're going to have an extra $15 million to play with to spend. And they'll have to spend it right. Like you see teams when they have money, sometimes that's dangerous because they don't spend it wisely.
Mm-hmm.
The Washington thing, let me ask you this. Was that the team in the Metro that you just automatically took out of the playoffs this year and gave their spot to someone else?
If I had to pick one, it would have been them.
Right.
Like,
I feel like a lot of people did that.
Jersey replacing a team, it was going to be Washington.
Right. And then maybe you looked at it and said, hey, this could be the year where we could get 5 out of the Atlantic because it's so competitive. And, Washington, they made the playoffs last year with the worst goal differential of any team that's ever made the playoffs. I was just in Washington. I called a game there. Mind you, it was against the Habs, who are not in a good place right now. They're not in a good place for sure. But that Washington team is very good. They are the real deal. They're a good team. They're going to be a playoff team. Whether they're top 3 in the Metro, that remains to be seen. But I have no doubt that is a good team.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is Dylan Strome has finally popped. And he was a teammate with McDavid when they were in Erie. I believe he was the first overall pick to the OHL. Obviously, his brother, Ryan Strome, the Strome family, like they were very good players growing up. And I think they're Brampton boys, I believe.
Mississauga
guys. But he played with McDavid on that Erie team. Then he went 3rd overall, which allowed Marner to go 4th. Like, if you can recall, it was like McDavid, Eichel, Strome, Marner. And then Tkachuk, I think, went 6th or 7th. Maybe he was the next draft. But anyway, he struggled in Arizona. Like, he struggled to find his footing in Arizona. He was highly touted, again, 3rd overall pick, and it just didn't happen for him. He was leading the league in points the other day. Like, he's up on 21, 22 points.
Well, and they got the other kid, like the
Connor McMichael's been outstanding.
This guy's been unbelievable. Like, as a team, like what I heard around Washington is that Carberry, who is the old assistant here in Toronto, has been coaching offense with this group because they couldn't score last year. They're scoring a bunch this year, and it's like the reminders were there defensively, but we need to coach different ways to generate offense, and all those guys have bought into it. They love playing for him.
Oh,
Pierre-Luc Dubois has been good there. Like,
Ovi's got 10 goals
there. Yeah, like they're a good team.
Yeah,
they're a good team.
Like, it's going to be a challenging 24 hours for the Leafs. I think they're up for the challenge because they've been playing really well, and this will be a big one tonight. Again, you beat Boston, Detroit, Montreal, Ottawa over the course of 8 days in your building. Especially if you do it in regulation and you do that 4 times, that is a big statement to the teams behind you. Basically, stay there, see you later, we're going in a different direction. This is the one you want to get because tomorrow will be challenging. In Washington will be challenging. Stolarz will go tonight, and Joseph Wall will go tomorrow. And the game, of course, can be seen on TSN, heard right here on TSN, and the guys with the call join us now live from Scotiabank Arena. Here's our buddies, Joe Bowen and Jimmy Ralph. How you guys doing?
We're good. How are you guys today?
We're very excited for the game tonight. Battle of Ontario.
Exciting. It's always exciting. Yes. This is always a good, and it doesn't matter where these two teams are in the standings. It's always a very highly competitive game, and usually with something to talk about after the fact.
Yes, always. I mean, this whole week has been unique because of the fact that they've played 4 divisional teams all at home. You mix in the Hall of Fame night on Friday, Leafs Habs on a Saturday night. I mean, it's probably been an electric 7 or 8 days down at Scotiabank.
Well, first time that they've played back-to-back original 6 teams since 1970.
Wow.
Apparently.
Wow.
And it certainly wasn't in my tenure. And we talked about this when we were looking at it. I said, I don't remember this. And especially when we started in the 80s, we were out in the Western Conference, so it was Chicago, and Detroit, who were in there with us. So, it was interesting, and yet, you know what? They seem to have found a groove. They seem to have, bought in to what the coaching staff is trying to get them to do, and the numbers speak for themselves. They're much better defensively. They're much better goals against. They're much better save percentage. They're much better on the penalty kill, and the woe-begotten morbid power play has all of a sudden become the hottest thing in the National Hockey League.
So, Ralphie, I've been up there with you guys the last couple years, and, we've seen some goaltenders go into this net, whether it's been Jack Campbell or Samsonov or Shelgren or Woll, and, now Anthony Stolarz has really kind of taken the crease, and he's made it his own, but each of those guys, when they were in the crease, you and I would have these conversations about, what it felt like watching him. What kind of confidence, how calm are they? What's the feeling you get watching Anthony Stolarz, and is it any different than, any of the guys that I just mentioned from the last couple years?
Yeah, you know what I think, Frankie, is watching him on a game-to-game basis, you get a greater appreciation for him, and I know everyone's going to bring up he's never been a number one before, he's never played more than 27 games in the regular season before. But Charlie Lindgren in Washington had that tag last year until he got something called an opportunity, and he ran with it. The two things I like about Stolarz, I find with his size, he's incredibly quick and mobile. And a lot of times you get guys that are 6'5", 6'6". You get the size aspect, but you sacrifice a little bit of mobility and quickness. And he's shown to have all of those attributes. And the other side is, I think they've given up 30 shots on goal or more once in the last 7 games. So this isn't even the Cujo era where you're expecting him to stop 40 or 50 shots a night. He's been very good in moments, whether it was on a penalty kill or a 2 or 3 minute span in the middle of the second period. And the Leafs have rewarded him with it. But I've been pleasantly surprised. Him and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, watching on a nightly basis, to me have been the most pleasant surprises this year.
With Joe Bowen, Jim Ralph, ahead of the game tonight, Leafs Ottawa, right here on TSN Radio. Bonesy, not seeing Auston Matthews play the last few games and how well this team has played. Have you noticed anything tangible that this team has brought to the table that would suggest, okay, they're compensating for his absence? What do you make of them playing as well as they've played without their best player?
You mean other than the trade rumor?
Yes. What would that be? The fact that he's getting dealt because they play so well without him?
Yeah. Let's move on here. Let's move on. You know what? I think because of their structure, and it was certainly what Auston Matthews has bought into as well. I mean, yes, his production is down, but his 200-foot game has really been very noticeable. And I think that because of that and because of the structure that they have, they're able to kind of get by without having, obviously their best player in the lineup. And every team goes through these things, and every team, is going to have some key injuries and things of this nature. But it is rather ironic, the record that the Leafs have without either Matthews or Marner or Tavares in the lineup has always been pretty substantial. And having said that, it is, the rest of the guys just saying, okay, well, we don't have him, but we've got everybody else. Play our game, play the structure, play the system, see if we can't gut one out. And some of the games aren't exactly Rembrandts. There are a lot of Picassos in there where it's it's not a end-to-end, a wide-open game where, for the fans, it is a structured game that if they continue to play this way and do it well, then there's not a large change that has to be made come playoff time. And everybody is comfortable with what they have to do on a game-to-game basis, a line-to-line basis, and a person-to-person basis. So, it will obviously get better if Matthews is back in the lineup and how much deeper they're going to be. But at this particular point, I think that the team concept is compensating for any absentees that they have within the lineup in the frame of work that they have.
Ralphie, I know when you're up there calling the game, you'll take a look at the bench, especially on the TV timeouts or some of the whistles, just to see how the coaches interact with the players. And like if you're watching on TV, you only get to see what the producer in the truck is going to show you, but when you're in the building, you can watch it a little bit more. You notice anything different about how Berube might react with some of the players on the bench as opposed to Sheldon Keefe? Like, is there anything that kind of sticks out to you, maybe on TV timeouts or, just kind of getting the messages he wants to get across?
I think Berube possesses that scare the hell out of the players factor.
I like that one. I like that factor.
Per 60? Per 60?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? And that's nothing against Sheldon Keefe. I think Pat Quinn had that. I believe Pat Burns had that, where it was, you're going to listen to what he has to say. And he's not going to be afraid to bench guys. He's not going to be afraid to call guys out. And, it's funny, even after some calls, the first thing you do is look over at the bench and you look at the head shake and you look at the stare and you're going, man, I know it's been a while since he put on skates and dropped the gloves, but there's still an intimidation factor. And that's what I noticed with Berube. It's I'm surprised they've been able to change or adapt as quickly as they have. I think the comparison to the Florida Panthers when Paul Maurice took over is fairly accurate. Remember the year before, they were the President's Trophy winners. They were the leading scoring team in the National Hockey League. Now you get the Tkachuk trade. Paul Maurice comes in, and all of a sudden he wants them to play a different style of hockey. Hopefully the Leafs don't have to wait for Pittsburgh to lose to Chicago in the last game to get into the playoffs. But that was really kind of the turning point for the Florida organization to sort of switch gears and think more defense and tougher to play against first, as opposed to being the prettiest team in the NHL. And I think I'm a little surprised that the Leafs have bought in this early. I thought when they had those back-to-back losses to Columbus and Minnesota, or in St. Louis at home, I thought, okay, this is going to be hard to keep the horses from leaving the barn and not going back to some of the old habits. But the Leafs have been able to stick with it.
Now, Frankie, did you have a coach that scared the bejippers out of you?
Yeah, and he was half my size, John Tortorella. I don't know if people know this, but Torts is pretty short.
Yeah, not a big guy.
When you see him in person for the first time, you're like, I could have swore you were at least a half foot taller. But you know what? It was one of those things with him where he could kind of look at you a certain way, and you could almost feel the eyes through the back of your helmet on the bench. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't even need him to say anything. I already know.
Yeah, and it's fun. What's funny, Frank, is he doesn't come across that way in interviews.
Very welcoming, very warm.
Yeah, warm and fuzzy.
Warm, fuzzy guy.
Yeah, he loves it.
I'm quite surprised. It's the first time I've ever heard that kind of thing about that gentleman personally, but okay.
Yeah. Well, listen, and I think we're gonna see some old school Torts this year in Philly. It's not going so well. He's gonna get on top of things and be pissy soon.
They're already they're all over him because he healthy scratched Michkov for 2 games, and he basically said this was part of it. It was gonna happen. And then the Michkov kid goes out and scores last night on a breakaway. But it was hilarious watching it. I don't know if you guys watched any of that game, but Michkov did a flyby at the blue line, then another flyby, got the breakaway pass and scored, and it's Torts would be pissed. He didn't care that you scored because you did 2 flybys on the shift.
Yeah. Well, and that's the same way that Berube is. You know what? And obviously, and you can say what you want about Sheldon Keefe and what kind of a coach he is, and he's obviously a very qualified, a very good coach. But it says something different too, that the guy behind the bench played in the league, understands that the fourth line is as important to the makeup of the team as the first line, and everyone has to buy in to the same thing. And, when you do come back and that scowl is looking at you, you're like you said, Frankie, I don't have to have him say anything to me. I know what I've done wrong, and I better not do it again. And if it happens again, well, then you probably are going to have a piece of the pie to sit on for a bit. And one way or the other, it's going to be addressed by a video or something, either during the intermission, after the game, or before the next game. And that's the one-on-one thing that you're going to have to deal with at that time. So, it's you hate to say this, but sometimes that wears thin too, and the time on the shelf for coaches like that sometime, and we see it because how many teams have, these guys bounced around to. But right now, this is the perfect guy to have with this group to get them to play the kind of system and the kind of way that will benefit them later on as much as it is present day.
Well, they're a veteran team, right? Like they feel
they
like
are now.
Yeah, they are. They feel like an old, mature team. Tanev coming in, Ekman-Larsson coming in. Stolarz isn't young. And listen, they've been at it for a long time. They've been a consistent playoff team for a long time. And, you look at the way that they're defending, and that's been a constant conversation. Obviously, we've been hyper-focused on the power play recently, and you take Matthews out of the lineup, what the offense is going to look like. But Ralphie, defensively, like collectively as a team, really since puck drop opening night, they've played very well. Like the eye test would say that, the numbers would say that. Like they look like a pretty well-oiled machine when it comes to defensive play. And I'm sure that's probably what makes Craig Berube happier than anything else.
Yeah, and we're talking too, Hazy. It's a 5-man unit.
Yep.
It's the guys. The blue line have been great. The additions have been great. But I think that's why they haven't quite found that balance with offense and defense yet. Matthews being out of the lineup, I think, sort of hampers that process. But right now, I think when you see everybody coming back, and like I said, it was only those 2 games, the back-to-back games against Columbus and St. Louis, where they were giving up multiple odd man rushes, and then they clamped back down. And I think that's now the other side of that is they ain't getting many odd man rushes the other way. But and
they're scoring ugly.
Yeah, they're scoring ugly. If you put all those power play goals together in a stats pack, you'd be going, man, this ain't exactly the '84 Oilers. This is, and I think Matthew Nyes has a lot to do with that. He goes to the front of the net, takes somebody with him, and even if he doesn't get a point on a goal, you see Matthew Nyes is right there when it goes in. So. I was watching it's a series of documentaries on Game 7s. I was watching one last night, and they were talking, I think it was Dave Poulin. I think it was Pooley was talking about the Philadelphia Flyers when they said, let's do simple better. And that's what I think the Leafs have been able to do early on. They've kept it simple, and they've been very good at it.
That's it. That saying might apply to a guy like Nick Robertson, who's been snake-bitten this year. Like, he hasn't had the production that I think a lot of people, myself included, thought or hoped he was going to have after that preseason. But, like, Bonesy, you're watching Nick Robertson, and you have to see some things away from the puck with the work ethic, the compete level, that kind of lets you know, like, okay, this guy's bringing something other than the goal scoring to the table that kind of keeps him important to the team.
At both ends of the rink, I think, Frankie, and you don't have a guy that is any more diligent at the back check than Nick Robertson. He understands to stay in the lineup. The first and foremost thing is he can't be a liability. His line can't be a liability, and he has to be able to do that. The goals will come. He's too talented a guy, and literally when he is on the ice, you notice him. And I think he's been a little bit snake-bit. Again, they're trying to preach the north-south game rather than the east-west game, and Nick may be a little more of an east-west player in the offensive zone, but the other parts of the rink, he has been very diligent, and that's the reason he's in the lineup and will stay in the lineup going forward. And he realizes that. It was taught to him and talked about during preseason, and he earned a spot on this team not only because of the offense that he did produce in the preseason, but the way he was working at both ends of the rink and killing penalties back in the preseason. Right. Now, he hasn't been asked to do that here yet, but it's at least something that is on the back burner. There's a possibility.
Sure. Leaf Sends tonight on TSN 1050.
Boys,
yes.
I have to send a shout-out.
Yes.
My son Sean and Mike Hogan and the rest of the lads are out in Vancouver, and they're watching your show, getting prepared for the Grey Cup coming up here on Sunday. And so to everybody, Argos!
I love them this week. I think Nick Arbuckle is going to pull one out here, Bonesy. I feel very good about where they're at. They own Winnipeg during the regular season.
Well, you can't own anything until you prove that you have the papers. It's sort of like us with the Chicago Bears.
Well, that's true. Although, listen, man, coming off a bye, I love where Green Bay is in the second half.
Are you an owner as well, Hayes?
I am not.
No,
I'm speaking
he's
with
a fan. I am an owner.
Bonesy's an owner.
I know.
Yes.
I'm well aware.
I have to address him as Sir and Mr. Bowen.
I'm trying to see if we can't secure at least a share in the Argos, too, which I would be very
idea.
nice.
I like that idea. Yep. I like that idea, Bonesy. I like that. Yeah, you gave that shout out as well. We're on board with it. Argos Bombers this weekend. Enjoy yourselves tonight, guys. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks, bud.
All right, Jim Ralph and Joe Bowen. Ahead of the game tonight, Leafs Sens.
You know that draft you were talking about, the Marner one?
Mm-hmm.
So we got it wrong. It was McDavid, Eichel, Strome, Marner. Then it was Hannafin. Remember, Babcock wanted Hannafin and Hunter pushed Marner. And,
yes.
I mean, Hannafin's a good player. But you got a
career.
99-point player, two-way guy.
Marner was the pick.
And Marner was the pick. But then after that, it's not the Tkachuk draft because that was the Ewell Levy.
He was the next
Vancouver picked Ewell Levy.
Right.
And then Calgary took Tkachuk, and it was like, guys, what are you doing? And Montreal took Kotkaniemi.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple misses there.
That's painful.
But this went Zacha, Provorov, Werenski, Meyer, and then you know who went 10th that year? Mikko Rantanen.
Ooh, man, what a draft.
Yeah, it's a good draft.
What a top 10.
2015 draft.
Yeah, that's star-studded, man.
Yeah.
Like
and that was the year Boston had 3 picks in a row, and they missed out. They could have taken Connor, Shabbat, Barzal, Connor, and Shabbat. Instead, they took Zaboral, DeBrusk, and Sinishin.
None of them playing there.
None of them are there anymore.
Yeah. Only one of them really made the NHL.
Yeah,
like DeBrusk.
Zaboral played 76 games.
Played. Yeah. Wow, what a miss, man. I was at that draft, and everyone thought the Bruins were going to flip at least one of the picks, and they just kept going up. Like, they had to go back to their table, and then the clock would expire. They'd go back up. Then they'd go back to their table, and the clock would expire. That was their play.
Imagine Boston had Barzal, Connor, and Shabbat.
Crazy.
The last 8 years.
Crazy how good that could be. Huh. What a miss. And, like, DeBrusk, a good player.
Oh, yeah.
Good pick.
He's
but, like,
player.
You know, and again, it's based on mock drafts and stuff, but, like, I remember hearing a lot about Kyle Connor in particular. Like, it's easy for me to say, look at Barzal, you should have taken him, or, you know, Shabbat, who's obviously been a good player. But Connor was like a goal-scoring stud,
he
American,
Michigan.
It was like, how do you miss that?
Yeah.
How do you miss out on that?
How does Detroit miss Quinn Hughes when he played in Ann Arbor in
That
their backyard?
crazy.
And they took Philip Zadina?
That's scary.
Oh.
That's scary, because that was loud at the time. He's right up the road.
How did you not see him?
Yeah, scary.
It was right there.
Scary. All right. Overdrives. Oh, I've already done this one. We sent Al's brother out somewhere in the city with a pair of Leaf tickets, and you have to guess where he's hiding for your chance to win them. All right. Here's our second clue of the week. You ready to hear from Al's brother?
I can't wait. It better be a good one.
This will be a good one. I can feel it.
Okay, OD fans, it's Tuesday. It's time for another clue to see if you can find out where I am hiding. These tickets
we can't
are
even play
for
that. We
Leafs
can't
and
even play
Golden
that. You
Knights
gotta
on
get
November
that.
20th.
That is a bad
the
omen.
place that I am at is one of the
Abducted by
very few
aliens?
spots
I don't know
in the
what's up
city
there with Al's
where
brother.
you can
Bad production,
have a picnic,
bad
toss the
audio.
pigskin,
We can't
and
play
see a
that.
peacock.
I don't know how we're going to do this, Doogie. We might have to call Al's brother, and he might have to actually, on the air, just read out the clue.
Call him. He's got to do it.
Let's see if we can call Al's brother. We'll come back. We'll reset. Confirm or deny coming up. Because we're giving away great tickets, man.
Dude, it sounded like he had the NutriBullet on full blast.
That's probably what was happening in the background. And again, this is Leafs Golden Knights, November 20th. Find Al's brother brought to you by McAlpine Ford in Aurora, our family, the Ford family, and you. Full details at tsn1050.ca. We will get you the clue. Hopefully, Al's brother will join us and he'll just say it. If not,
get him on
we'll find a way to
FaceTime.
make this work.
Get FaceTime Al's brother.
Yeah, we should connect with him.
We got to
because
see him.
we were on the Rams last night and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
And we need to address that. This upcoming week is an unbelievable slate of football games.
Is it? I haven't even
Well,
looked.
it's Chiefs at Bills, which is the game of the season. Kansas City at Buffalo. You've got Baltimore, Pittsburgh. That's one of the games of the season. Battles for the AFC North. There's other great games, too. I'd have to look it up. But, like, Doogie sent it to me the other day. It's just an incredible slate of ball games. Great football games. All right, so we'll see where Al's Brother's at. We'll get you your clue. Confirm with deny still to come. Best Bets brought to you by FanDuel as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, confirm or deny coming up here in a moment. We're going to call Al's brother for the latest clue, because we need to know where Al's brother is. He's somewhere in the city with a pair of Leaf tickets, and we threw to the clue, and it was all distorted. So that's not a good sign. Want to remind people next Wednesday, November 20th, we will be broadcasting live at the Boston Pizza in Vaughan.
I'm coming.
Yes,
I'm coming.
we will be there. We want you to be there as well. Tickets to the broadcast, they sold out like really, really quickly, but we held on to a few pairs just in case, and tune into Overdrive on Friday for your chance to win your way in.
Nice.
Very exclusive. Very exclusive. But we do have a couple pairs of tickets that we're going to be giving away on Friday. So unnecessary to hit me with the Al's Brother Stone Cold Stunner. Al's Brother, what's up with your audio, man? Where are you in the city with these Leaf tickets?
Apparently there's not great reception where I'm standing at. I don't know what's going on with the audio. Maybe there's an alien abduction going on or something.
Dude, are you in the can or something? It's all echoey.
Card Depot?
It's like you're in a tin can.
Card Depot? Where are you, cruising?
I wish I was at a Card Depot. I've Card Depot'd myself enough this weekend, I think.
Okay. Are you on a cruise right now? Are you like in a jail cell on a cruise? What are you doing right now?
No, just sitting. You know what? You want the clue?
Yeah.
I can let you guys give you a
Yeah.
okay.
All business. Let's get to the clue here.
I guess you got to run.
Al's brother is dealing with some serious issues. Let's get to the clue. All business. Please give us the clue. Where are you, Al's brother?
All right, everyone. Where I am at is the only place in the city you could have a picnic, toss a pigskin, and pet a peacock.
Oh, I know where you are, Al's brother.
Where am I?
I'm not going to give that answer. People have to tune in tomorrow because you got one more clue, right? We might have to call you for the clue tomorrow. What the hell happened in the Rams game last night?
Hazy B. The Finns are frauds. Like,
Yes.
was that not the most fraudulent victory that they've had all year? I mean, the fact that the Rams go 0 for 6 inside the red zone, couple of fumbles, a bad interception, and really the Dolphins didn't look that good. The game was handed to them, and it was a tough loss for us, Hazy B. Really tough loss.
Yeah, man, we got it. We were so close to a perfect week. We went 2-1 with our picks. We're seeing the board very well. We got to get over the top. Like, these clowns are just waiting to be beat. They're ripe for the picking. We just have to take advantage. We'll see. They're on the game on Thursday. Yes, on Thursday. I'm getting my dates all screwed up here. All right, Al's brother, thank you for checking in with your clue of the day. We'll see what the clue is tomorrow.
All right, boys. Looking forward to it.
You got it. There it is, Al's brother. Again, find Al's brother, brought to you by McAlpine Ford in Aurora. Our family, the Ford family, and you. Full details at tsn1050.ca. Al's brother somewhere in the city with a pair of tickets. Leafs Vegas. All right, you ready for some confirm or deny?
Yeah, let's do it.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Auston trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for confirm or deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, here we go. Confirm or deny. Let's begin with some Juan Soto takes here, okay, when it comes to where he's going to sign. Confirm or deny Juan Soto will sign with the New York Yankees.
It's an easy confirm. Like, you just went through all you went through with that team. You're comfortable there. You know it works. You're in New York. Everything that comes with the Yankees. Like, I don't know. I don't know how, if they're going to match whatever the Mets or the Blue Jays or the Red Sox are going to match financially. How are you saying no to that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, they're going to come to the table. They're not going to try and shortchange you. Whatever the number is, they're going to meet it.
I think they probably would, but there's just too much of the field here. He feels like he's just a different beast. You know, it feels kind of like the Harper scenario where it was like, this guy's going to go here, he's going to go there, and then Philly comes out of nowhere. You know, I I'm going to deny this, that the Yankees, because this isn't George Steinbrenner anymore. Like, this is a different era of the Steinbrenners where they approach it a little bit differently. I could see them having a cap on, like, what Judge makes per year. Like, that's how high as we're going to go, and we're the Yankees, and if you want to leave, go ahead and play somewhere else. Like, Steve Cohen and the Mets are in this thing, man. They are in it. And if it simply comes down to money, absolutely no loyalty. I don't think there's much loyalty when it comes to this guy. It opens the door up to the rest of the field. This guy was 5 minutes removed from losing the World Series, talking about how he'll go anywhere, talk to anybody, no one's got anything.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
What was he thinking?
He could not care less about the Yankees.
Wild.
So I don't think he's got some, like, I'm sure it was a blast for him. But he's played in Washington. He's played in San Diego. Now he's played in New York. He's Dominican. Like, this isn't a guy that grew up in the Bronx.
I
or
get
something.
that. It's a good point. The thing that's crazy about the Mets is that they were such a mess basically until they started getting hot. What was that? Halfway through the season?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they completely took off and everything changed for them. Prior to that, it was a circus last year when they spent all the money. It was a circus up until that point. But now, because they played so well, it's like you might look at it a little bit different and say, the Mets actually have something. They have something stable or somewhat stable. Whereas I think if you looked at, if the tide didn't turn for them, Soto would look at that and be like, yeah, I'm just getting the same amount of money or a lot of money in a circus of a situation.
I know, but it did turn, and they went on
turned,
and they made it.
That's the thing. It did.
Yeah. All right. Confirm or deny. Alex Ovechkin can, not saying he will, Alex Ovechkin can win the Rocket Richard this season.
Can win the Rocket Richard this season.
In other words, can be in the hunt.
Can he?
He's up to 10 goals right now. Like, as of right now, he's in the hunt.
Like, I'll confirm it. Like, I suppose he can. Very, very outside chance, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so Ovi right now is shooting at a clip, like, way higher than he ever has. I'd have to find it. Like, so he's 20% shooting right now.
Mm-hmm.
10 goals in 14 games. He has been, throughout his career, not a 20% shooter. Like, he's usually in that, 10 to 12. He's a 12.9% shooter. So the regression is coming for Ovi at some point. Like, that is going to happen, regardless of how well the team is playing. Dylan Strome, like, he has not been a 20% shooter. His last, however many years, last year 11, 14, 15, 13, 15. So I suppose he can, but if this was a Jerry's, my percentage would be, I don't know, 28%.
Yeah, I know.
Call it 28%.
I mean, it's kind of a stickler play because can he? Like, it's tough to bet against this guy when it comes to goal scoring.
Yeah.
Like, look at how well he has started the year, even though the stats you just indicated would suggest, he's got some things kind of going his way here. But last year, he really struggled out of the gate. This year, he's got 10 goals in 14 games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, last year, he was in game 45 last year, and he only had 10. So he's way ahead of last year's curve, like you just referenced, though the shooting percentage is through the roof. But he's actually playing less amount of minutes and amount of time on ice. So
he plays a full 2 minutes on the power play, too.
Which is
he's on
what
both
he's
units.
Always done.
Yeah.
It's just anchor him right where he's going to be anchored, and he's been there for 20 years.
And their power play's terrible.
Because the whole thing's try to find Ovi on a one-timer.
It's not even that it's always trying to find Ovi for the one-timer. It's that because he's playing the 2 minutes and he's on that side, you lose a retrieval guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you lose a guy to help set things up.
He's not chasing pucks down.
You're almost, in a way, when the puck's up for grabs, you're playing 4-on-4.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you have it, then he's an option.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna deny this though. I don't think 50 plus is in the cards, and I think whoever's going to win the Rocket, you're looking at 50 plus. Yet it's been a strange start to the year because a lot of the big dogs, and Matthews is the biggest dog of them all, just doesn't have a great start. Now he's injured and he's missing his fourth game in a row.
Did you see the Auston Matthews has the worst what is it, expected goals per goals?
Mm-hmm.
Like, his expected goals is through the roof. Actual goals is obviously quite low. It's the biggest discrepancy in the NHL.
Right.
At some point, that's going to even out.
He has missed some prime opportunities this year that in the past he rips home in his sleep.
Oh, yeah. But it's crazy. Like, look at the board now. it's Caulfield is leading the NHL with 12. Then it's Tage Thompson, Nylander, Reinhart, Kucherov, Nico Hischier. Like Draisaitl's there at 10. Like, there's a guy who's always in the mix.
Draisaitl will score 50.
Yeah.
That's a guy that, like, that would be my pace car for the Rocket right now.
Yep.
Because of what I know he will consistently do. Kucherov scores, but he usually taps out at like 40, 41, 42. Well, Willie, the same thing.
Dude, it's crazy with Kucherov because he's got a great shot, especially like that one-timer, but he's a passer first.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a passer first with a bomb of a shot. It's wild.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Wild.
And then Reinhart had 50-plus last year, and he's doing it again this year. So those are the guys who are kind of leading the charge right now. Confirm or deny, the Buffalo Bills will beat the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend in Buffalo.
Okay, I'm going to confirm it just because if the Chiefs are not going to lose to the Bills, I haven't looked at the rest of their schedule, but who are they going to lose to? Like, are they really going to run the table? I know it's, Mahomes and the defense has been really good, and they're just, when push comes to shove and certain moments come up in the game, that team is battle tested and they know how to win. I get all that. But if the Bills don't stop them, like, is there a team coming up on the schedule that is going to? Like, at some point, they're going to have to lose a game. And maybe at some point, Hayes, you kind of just want to get that done and over with. So it's not this thing where it's like it turns into a narrative about the undefeated season and, just, okay, it's done, it's over, and we move on.
On FanDuel, the Bills are a minus 1.5 point favorite. 1.5 point favorite.
Pick 'em.
It's effectively a pick 'em. That means you're getting plus points for the Chiefs. It's almost an auto pick whenever you have a scenario where Mahomes is getting points.
Yeah.
Yet, I'm going to confirm this. I do think the Bills will find a way to do this because it is getting to a point now, though, because they're 9-0 and history's on the line, where it does mean almost as much to Kansas City as it does to Buffalo. Like we were talking about tonight, very different scenario, but this game means a lot more to Ottawa than Toronto. It's always going to be the case because Toronto's the big brother. They've had more success. They've been a playoff team. Ottawa's trying to prove they belong. It's a much bigger game for Ottawa tonight. The same thing applies here with the Bills, but it can balance out a little bit because Kansas City is undefeated. If Kansas City was 7-2, I'd love the Bills this week. But because the Chiefs realize what is at stake here, and if the Bills beat them, all of a sudden that one seed in the AFC does come up for grabs. Right. Bills have only lost twice. You're only one loss behind them in the loss column if the Bills beat them on Sunday. So it's a significant game for Kansas City as well. But I feel like the Bills, the way they've been playing, the way Josh Allen's been playing, Kansas City's been playing with fire a little bit. Blocked field goal to win last week. Week 1 against Baltimore, the Isaiah Likely toenail over the line. Good teams find a way to win. They're a great team. But I'm going to confirm it. I think the Bills are going to get them this weekend. The other great games this weekend that I was referencing, Chargers-Bengals Sunday night. It's a really good game. Eagles-Commanders. That's a battle of the NFC East.
Who would have thought at this point in the season the Commanders would be playing a significant competitive game against the Eagles?
I know.
Like that just kind of speaks to Daniels and what he's done. Like, I don't know if that really came out of nowhere for you, but like that kid's been unbelievable.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding. And changes everything. Once you get a quarterback like that, it changes everything.
Yeah.
Then the Cowboys playing Houston Monday night. Like the Cowboys, they play Monday night. They're going to play U.S. Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks. They have all these primetime games, and they're done. It's over. Dak's having the surgery. It's just going to be horrible. Like, flex them out. But they won't do it because they're so popular.
How crazy is it that the star wide receiver who's getting paid $1 gazillion is getting blinded by the sun in his home stadium?
Yep.
That's wild.
That's full circle for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, man. Confirm or deny, one of Mitch Marner or William Nylander will be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Wow.
One of Marner or Nylander will get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'll confirm that. Like, these guys are going to have a ton of games played. They're going to have a ton of points. Are they ever going to have a Rocket or an Art Ross or a Hart? Probably.
I'm not sure they will.
Probably not. They're not going to have that. But there's going to be players who are in the Hall who are maybe from different eras who don't have the games played or the numbers, but these guys will. Like, these guys will outpace some guys that are already in the Hall of Fame. So, and I think it's always going to depend on who's on the waiting list, who's up next.
Yeah, it may not be a first ballot thing.
But a Stanley Cup will go a long way.
Oh, I think they're in if they win a Stanley Cup here.
In Toronto.
Yes, because I do think the team you play for does matter. And I know people are going to roll their eyes. It's a fact. If you're an original six team, if you're a prominent player on an original six team, and you are establishing records on an original six team, it pops more, I believe, for voters.
100%. There's 100 years of history. And I know it's different eras, all that kind of stuff. Can't argue with 100 years of history.
If Nylander plays 18 years here and is like second all time in scoring, second in goals, I'm presuming behind Matthews, he's probably getting in. And the same thing with Mitch.
Yeah.
Like either or, you can use whichever guy you want.
We also have best on best hockey coming back.
Yes,
we got this
that's
Four
big.
Nations thing, but we're also going to have Olympics. You had an Olympic gold medal. It's the Hockey Hall of Fame, right? Like that adds to your resume as well, as far as
and Marner, he's got a Memorial Cup. He's got.
Who would have a World Junior gold?
I don't think they won his year, although he probably was there twice. So the 1 year it was in Europe and they didn't play well. They lost, I want to say, in the quarterfinals. I think they lost to Laine's Finnish team.
Oh,
remember Laine and
was that the year
Puljujärvi?
Kapanen had the? Was that the Kapanen?
I think
year?
Kapanen scored the OT winner to win the gold that year.
Something.
Yes, that was in Finland. I'm pretty sure Marner was on that Canadian team. They didn't win, and I would assume he was on twice. Although once he got to the NHL, that was it. He didn't go back. Like he didn't go back at Christmas his rookie year. He would have been 20 at that point, eligible to play for Canada, but the Leafs weren't going to send him back. I think he probably only played once. We can look that up.
Well, because he joined our team as a 19-year-old. Like,
So-
he could have gone back to London.
And that was it. He wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
They didn't send him back. So he played once. So he didn't win a World Junior medal. I don't even think he medaled.
No, he's got a World Championship silver. But yeah, he doesn't have any. But man, I'm just looking on Elite Prospects. His resume.
Marner's?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's it.
Pretty
And if you
unbelievable.
play your whole career here, if they actually win something, you rack up points and stats. And like he hit a stat recently, Marner did, where he got to 400 assists on his career. I saw it when he hit it the other night. Or no, that was Riley recorded 400 career assists the other night. And Riley becomes the third defenseman in franchise history to register 400 assists as a Maple Leaf, joining Salming and Caberlet. But Marner had one recently, too. I got to go back and find it. Where, here it is. Yeah, trailing just 6 players so far this season when it comes to assists via 14. Mitch Marner is now just 2 away from 500, which I believe he hit recently. In the regular season and playoffs combined. And he joins 6 other wingers to do that. 500-plus regular season and playoff assists before the age of whatever. I can't find the whole stat. But anyway, the guys he was competing with in terms of assists and racking them up this early in his career, Guy Lafleur, Jari Kurri, Mike Bossy, Jaromir Jagr, Artemi Panarin, and Nikita Kucherov.
Right.
Like, that's the category that Marner's in terms of racking up assists.
And that's not through, your first 20 games. Like, we're talking
First
large
NHL career first 9 career NHL seasons.
There you go.
So that's what it is.
So he's been doing it a long time. Yeah, I'll confirm that. One of those guys is going to be in the Hall.
I'll confirm it too. Yeah, I'll confirm it too.
There's guys that have got in with less.
Yes. Yeah, like 500 plus assists, regular season playoff combined in your first 9 career NHL seasons. Lafleur, Curry, Bossy, Jagr, Panarin, Kucherov, Marner.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal statistic and phenomenal company to be in. All right, Leafs Sense tonight, right here on TSN Radio and on TSN4 tonight. We'll come back and tee it up and get to our best bets brought to you by FanDuel. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm going big game hunting tonight. This one paying plus almost 1,600. Sens puck line plus 1.5. I think Ottawa shows up tonight. I think they keep it close. I wouldn't be shocked if Ottawa won tonight. They generally get the Leafs, especially early in the season. They get up for these games. They'll be ready to play. No Matthews, no Pacioretty. Connor Dewar making his debut tonight for the Leafs.
We know about Domi? Have we heard about that?
Domi's playing. Domi's playing.
Okay.
Nylander's playing. That's what Berube said this morning,
okay.
that they're going to play. But I think this could be a one-goal game either way. So Ottawa on the puck line. Jake Sanderson to record a point tonight. This is where we're going big game hunting. Brady Tkachuk 5+ shots on goal tonight. Nylander 5+ shots on goal tonight, paying almost plus 1,600. Tkachuk the other night had like 12 shot attempts or something crazy like that.
You like Tkachuk in Toronto, bright lights, playing the Leafs.
In close.
Double TSN, double Dion on TSN.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Live same-game parlays are now available for every NHL game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 18+, physically located in Ontario. All right. Leafs Sens tonight.
Should be good.
Should be good. Raps in Milwaukee tonight.
Probably not going to be as good.
Maybe not as good tonight. Full breakdown tomorrow. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web. We appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.